Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less. Today, our guest is Clay Green, known as EnthusiastiClay. He has applied his 30 years of experience training adults, combined with his diverse set of experiences in military and corporate systems, overlaid with an entrepreneurial spirit to help business owners and other executives apply daily practices to safely enter and exit the state of flow and perform in ways that they have only dreamed of. One of the things that I love about Clay is he is living the entrepreneurial lifestyle. He is running his business as he's traveling across the United States in his RV. So if you hear some noise, it's because his office is coffee shops around the world. Welcome, Clay.
Hey, Cindy J, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me, man. Yeah.
Truly my pleasure. And to begin with, Clay, can you describe a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success?
Totally personal. It's basically everything. Even though I have knocked it out of the park, I have been the path for me and my performance during my time in the U.S. Navy is insane. Telling the story now, giving the details, it blows my mind that I did that. And it's shocking to me. And then I went on and I did stuff in the corporate world with companies like Intel and manufacturing the computer chips. And it's blowing my mind that I'm standing inside this fab, this manufacturing facility that's doing this stuff, and I'm touching and I'm doing, and it's blowing my mind as I'm doing it. And definitely now that I'm looking back on it, I can't believe everything I've done. And the funny part is, the whole time I knew I didn't belong.
Right.
The whole time I struggled. The whole time I was not happy. And the whole time, not the whole time, a huge hunk of the time I was trying to build a business. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't get it done. That's hence, look at everything I do now is called get it done, basically.
Right.
I couldn't get it done. I struggled and struggled and struggled. If I, real quick, if I swing at you, I'm batting at a fly. It's driving me crazy. Like sitting right on top of my camera on my laptop. I'm like, really? Interesting. All right. Anyway, so going back, I couldn't get it done, and I didn't know why. I've taught kids. I'm going to try and keep this short. Long story short, I had a little incident with a deer going 85 miles an hour on a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. I did not crash. If we had a longer interview, I could talk about how that and everything that happened. Bottom line, not a come to Jesus moment. It was a performance moment. I performed for like 2 seconds like you can't believe. 3 days later, I found a book that taught me how I performed. And it all comes down to this thing up here. Since then, your noggin, your brain. Since then, I've become an expert in the brain because I've proven to myself beyond a shadow of a doubt how vital it is. And there is nothing more powerful on this planet than your brain, Cindy.
Right.
And so overcoming my inability to get it done was the trick. And the answer is everything I do nowadays, basically.
Mm-hmm. And I know that what you do is you share strategies to help improve focus and obtain the superhuman productivity. And that actually starts with the brain. So can you, for our audience, distinguish really quickly between feelings, facts, emotions, thoughts, reactions, and contemplative thought? Because that's how it all works.
my number one lesson. So I'm going to take all those words you just said. You want to say them again real quick? Because I think I know where you were.
Feelings, facts, emotions, thoughts, reactions, and contemplative thought.
All that can be boiled down into this. Think, do not react.
Right.
That is my first lesson. Mm-hmm. And The hard part of that is that we are, as a civilization, we are grotesquely not aware of how much we are reacting.
Right. With everything, exactly.
Yeah. Thousands of decisions a day are reactive, are what I call unconscious or unconscious. So the first and the most important thing people can do is start becoming more and more aware of their choice, whether they're grabbing a Dr. Pepper, a Mountain Dew, a Coca-Cola, a Pepsi, or water,
Right.
for example.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything is choice, and we always have that decision, and so many of them are unconscious. So it's bringing it to the conscious level, and why am I choosing this over this? And is this really going to improve my life and my business, or is it not? And it's that split second that, reprogramming brain, as I like to call it.
So it's interesting because many people think, so some people, for example, the free gift that I'm offering your audience, there are awesome tactics in there.
Right.
And some people can go grab those tactics and they can train themselves to do those tactics.
Right.
It's like getting better at shooting a basketball. Practice, you're going to get better. I like to go before that and focus in on that decision.
Right.
Because you're not always going to, it takes a lot of time. Malcolm Gladwell, 10,000 hours. You can spend 10,000 hours mastering something, or you can master the microsecond of conscious thought and make it a deliberate decision to master that moment. And that's what I mean when I say, yeah.
Yeah. And I know with this too, that you share it, like, again, to improve focus and obtain the superhuman productivity. So can you explain what you mean by superhuman productivity?
I'm honestly shocked at my clients' results. I'm shocked at the feedback that I get. I spend, if there's a couple books, I'm going to suggest a couple books. One, The Rise of Superman. Two, Stealing Fire, like you're going to steal the fire. Stealing fire. The way that my body and my brain performed when I hit the deer,
Right.
it's not normal. Not normal in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about a sporting event or a concert or a boxing match or a football game, something where you've paid money to go witness, or maybe you just watching it on TV and you watch a person or a group of people do their best in that moment. Odds are what you're watching, the reason you're watching is because in that moment you are experiencing the state of flow. You are experiencing someone in the zone.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is, in about 3 months, it takes 3 months at least, so somewhere between 3 and 6 months, anybody can build the skills and the awareness to manage their mind, to put themselves into a state of flow, doing any task at any time of day for as long as they want. It gets a little weird here because I also like to add the word safely. Right. Safety is important. There's a lot of risk involved in what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you say that there's 4 stages of flow. So what are the 4 stages of flow?
Struggle, release, the actual state of flow, and recovery.
Mm-hmm. And can you explain just a tad?
No. I'm not going to talk about the 3 of them are blatantly obvious. Struggle. You're stressed that your business is not going to make money. You're worried about a test. You're worried about the competition in the game. Struggle. Release. You've got to let go of the release. There's something you do. For example, getting ready for a game, people suit up. You may, I've heard for your business, you or your job, you go to work. So you may commute. For me, a part of my release has become the drive to a coffee shop.
Right.
So I've got to focus on the drive. My mind can't be working on the challenge of knocking this interview out of the park today. I can't be stressed about it while I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
Right. 3 is the state of flow. You're going to perform. You drop in and you perform.
Mm-hmm.
Recovery.
Yeah, that's the interesting one.
This is the important one. This is the one where people die. This is the one where people commit suicide. This is the one where people make really, really bad decisions. What happens if you're not conscious and you're not aware of what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
You enter a state of flow, and then at some point you run out of energy. At some point, like for me, after I hit that deer,
Mm-hmm.
actually the deer hit me, just so we're on the
Right.
same. I hit the deer anyway. After that moment, I immediately started crashing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I immediately came out of the state of flow, and my body just said, okay, it's time to rest.
Right.
And all the right chemicals were released, and my body crashed. A lot of people could call this depression.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar symptoms. So think about like young athletes or rock stars, people in a garage band, and all of a sudden they're up in front of 10,000 people and they're making more money than they can count. They're on the stage and they're jamming, and then they go backstage and the show's over and they start to crash.
Right.
Drugs, stupid behaviors with other people, fights, sex, all
Right.
that stuff. What they're doing is they're chasing or trying to hold on to that feeling they had on stage. And they're not consciously aware that it's time to recover. You're supposed to feel like crap.
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be sad. You're supposed to be going, did I do enough?
Right.
Did I, am I enough? Am I good enough? Oh God, I've got so much to do. And this comes into being aware of how your brain is working and all that. That's why my first lesson, before I teach anybody the state of flow stuff, it's think, do not react. Because
Right.
you are going, in recovery, you are going to be prompted to react. I guarantee it. So
And
recovery
I
is
just want
important.
to add in there, besides the think and the react, there's also the staying still. When I was 13 years old, I was hit by a car, but I actually believe I had enough time to escape being hit. But I remember seeing the car coming towards me and freezing. And my father was very concerned about teaching me to drive because he was like, you froze. That's why you got hit by a car. You froze. So are you going to freeze whenever you're driving if an emergency happens?
Cindy, may I?
Yes.
You freezing was reacting. That
Okay.
was your survival reaction. That's exactly what it is. That's a great example of that.
Yeah, and I never thought of it. Yeah, I was reacting even though I was doing nothing.
Exactly. That is a perfect example of that.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah. And so, Clay, real quickly, can you just explain how the process of measuring the time in the flow, or can you not do that quickly?
It's real easy. Set a damn alarm.
Set a damn alarm? Okay.
How many productivity or experts or whatever have you heard that say work for about 50 minutes
Right.
and then take a break and then work?
Right.
Do it. that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. Sounds good.
There's a lot. Now I help my clients choreograph what happens in that break. There's a work session landing routine and a work session launch routine. What you do in that 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 5, what you do in there dramatically affects what goes on before and after, obviously. But to answer your question, set an alarm on your phone, on your computer, and honor it.
Right.
That brings us to recovery. It's really hard to stop at the end of the day. That loops back. That one is the hard one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I see that completely. And Clay, can you share a strategy that our listeners can implement in 15 minutes or less to grow their business?
How much time do I have?
Well, according to you, about 10 minutes. No.
Okay. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Meditate.
Meditate, yes.
Meditate. 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 Meditate.
And is there any particular form of meditation that you believe is better than others? Visualizations, guided, sitting there, watching your breathing, etc., etc.?
Google meditate. Start meditating.
And I know that. And people, because they ask me this,
Cindy,
I believe in meditation. So I was wondering what your viewpoint was, if you think that there's any particular type that's better than another.
Whatever works.
Whatever works. Whatever works for you.
The message is meditate. Whatever you can find that actually empowers you to meditate. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's prayer. I don't care if it's guided meditation. I don't care if it's running. Right. I don't care if it's walking. I don't care. Yoga. I don't care. Meditate. Now, having said that, mm-hmm. starting that habit is required.
Right.
Tim Ferriss. Are you familiar with the book Tools of Titans?
No.
Oof. Tim Ferriss. You know Tim Ferriss, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. He wrote a book and released it called Tools of Titans, where he interviewed, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 to 300 experts, 300 successes. When he was promoting this book, he would go around and people would interview him, and they would ask, what are the three top tips? Number one, he said, over 80% of the people that I interviewed have a morning meditation ritual.
Right.
Meditate. Hang on, I ain't done. Anybody that's listening to this that has that book, turn to page 507 and read the first two paragraphs. What you're going to read is this. Hey, Tim, what about the other 20%? Mm-hmm. Oh, all those guys have some kind of mindfulness practice. Right. So 80% have a morning meditation ritual. 100% have some kind of meditation ritual or routine or habit. There is nothing more important than everyone that's hearing my voice right now start a meditation practice. It's gonna blow. You're gonna suck.
Right.
Don't stop. Keep using Google and YouTube.
I completely agree with you. Meditate, meditate, meditate. I know it's definitely changed my life and my business. And if I'm rushed in the morning and I don't have my morning routine, the day is crap. So
there is no, yes, meditate.
Yeah. I will meditate later if I don't do it first thing in the morning, but typically before I even leave my bedroom, I like to meditate. And sometimes I can't for whatever reason. So,
if you can,
I know that you have a wonderful gift for our community. Can you share what it is?
So, I'm kind of testing this. I'm a little nervous about this. I'm still nervous because my number one lesson is think, do not react. And I've actually interviewed some clients, not clients. I've interviewed people that have found me and watched some of my interviews and watched some of my training. And this one guy, I swear, he went out, got a friend, and they studied the state of flow a little bit, and they hacked themselves into a state of flow. Mm-hmm. 2.5 weeks later, so that was like 20 days later, they came out of the state of flow. Mm-hmm. They slept somewhere between 2 and 4 hours every 24 to 48.
Right.
They did not eat right. They did not drink right. They did not practice basic hygiene. Mm-hmm. They produced some cool stuff. He said it took him 4.5 weeks to recover from doing this to his body. His family thought he had gotten addicted to meth or something. So I'm a little nervous to share what I'm going to share. It's powerful. I'm sharing a 5-video series or 5-day series of the best tactics. It's just the tactics. Remember the flow launch and landing that I talked about between the breaks? There's some tactics. There's some specific things everyone can implement in there. The daily launch and daily routine, there's specific tactics that you can implement. Those specific tactics are what I'm offering, or what I'm sharing. There's like 5 videos where I explain what those are and how to do them. Please respect recovery. Set an alarm and recover every night.
I love the recovery part, really love it. And so I know what this video series is the 5 days to superhuman focus and productivity. And so what you want to do is you want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/clay, CLAY, all lowercase. So that's bizsuccessin15.com/clay, and grab your 5 days to superhuman focus and productivity video series. I'll have the link there and where you can go to grab that. And you'll also be able to re-listen to Clay's words of wisdom and download the episode so you can listen to it at any time. Clay, do you have any parting words for us?
Can you guess what it is?
Meditate. No.
Meditate. Actually, there's 3 habits: meditation, journaling, and gratitude.
Yes.
And Cindy, you said something about a morning routine, and I agree. I have a morning routine, but there are ways that you can meditate all day long, every day. Yeah. Just start meditating. Start scratching on that. Honestly, there is nothing that will benefit anyone's business more than you developing your meditation habit better, deeper, longer. Meditate.
Yes, I love that. And meditation is really what I think helps you even get in the flow, because it helps you really know who you are, what you want. It clears your mind, gives you focus and clarity.
It's basically required. It doesn't help you. I mean, yes, it helps you. It's required to truly see. That's the trick. People that haven't experienced it haven't tasted it.
Right.
And it's like all they can do is go on someone's promise and faith until they taste it. And when you taste it, then you'll know.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. So go out there and meditate. And Clay, I want to thank you for being my guest today. It's truly been a pleasure.
Cindy, thank you, man. I love it. I love what you're doing. I love your website. It's exciting. I love how the tiny bite-sized stuff. I love it. It's awesome.
Thank you very much. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends. You want to hop on over to bizsuccessin15.com/clay, where you're going to find all the links from today's show. So all the books Clay mentioned, I'm going to put links to the books so you don't need to try to think, what book was that? They'll all be there for you to download and go get. You'll be able to re-listen to today's show at your convenience and catch up on past episodes that you might have missed. While you're there, be sure to grab Clay's 5 days to superhuman focus and productivity video series. So with that, big hugs, and be sure to tune in to Biz Success in 15 next week for another great guest. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.